back to our CMA classes. So let's continue our remaining sections of computation of trust, okay, total income of trust, and we are going to complete this chapter, okay. And with this we are going to cover two questions, okay. So let's go for it now. Section 12A, condition for applicability of section 11 and 12, which says these following condition is to be fulfilled. If not, then in that case violation is going to be happen, okay. So let's go for it. Exemption under section 11 and 12 if trust is registered under section 12AB, okay, and if total income, which is gross receipt before claiming exemption under section 11 and 12, is more than basic exemption, definitely in that case the trust is required to maintain the book of accounts and documents and get audited from the auditors, okay. And second, furnish report within time given under section 44AB, okay. What if the total income exceeds the basic limit? In that case the trust have to get book of accounts and documents. First of all, the trust have to maintain book of accounts and document. Apart with that, they have to get audited, okay, within the time limit which is prescribed under section 44AB. Hope so this point was also clear, okay. And return should be filed before or up to due date under section 139 subsection 1(4) and 139(4)(a). Hope so this was cleared, okay. Let's go for some of the sections, which is section 12, okay. So let me read it first, okay. These are some of the cases when the trust is to get registration, okay. What happens if the trust was earlier registered, okay, in some other section like 11 or 12, later on it became 12AB, right? What if the trust is already registered in any other section, okay? Do they have to convert it? They have to do the re-registration process, or they can further continue with that, okay. This is the second question. And third, what if the trust is already registered in any other act, okay? Is there any procedure which is to be followed by them? So this section is going to give us a clarification. So let's go for it now, okay. First of all, I have made in a very simple language, okay. So let me clarify that. Later on we'll go for the lower words, okay. What is this law saying? So section 12A, or section if the trust is already registered under 12A or 12AA, okay. As I told you, what if the trust was already registered, okay? In that case the existing trust have to get the re-registration. In which section? Under section 12AB. So is there any time limit of doing this re-registration? Yes, there is a time limit within 3 months from April 2021, okay. This was the the amendment was made after this time, okay. So that's why they have given the time limit within the 3 months from April 2021, okay, in form 10A. This is 10A, okay, and extended up to, now it is actually extended up to 39 September 2023, okay. So register would be granted within how much days, within how much time limit, means within how much months? Within 3 months from the end of month in which application was received. So let me clarify it again, okay. What if the trust is already registered in section 12A and 12AA, which means the existing trust, they have to get their re-registration in 12AB, okay. So within how much time limit? Within 3 months from the April 1st 2021, extended up to the 30 September 2023, okay. And the registration would be granted from the end of that 3 month, within 3 months from the end of month in which the application was received. So once the application was received after the completion of 3 months, so within that 3 month, once the application was received on that month, within 3 months, next 3 months, the application is going to be granted, okay. So for how much years? For 5 years. Hope so this point was clear. Let me read now. Section 12A(1)(ac), okay, clause 1 says about the case re-registration of institution or fund which were already registered under section 12A or 12AA prior to first 4, this is first 4, okay. 1st 4 2021. In that case, what is the time limit? Within 3 months from April 1st 2021 in form number 10A. So what was the form number? Form number 10A. Okay, so here this is form 10A. Okay, and what is going to be the time limit of passing the order by principal commissioner? Order to be passed within 3 months, which means the granting, the application is going to be granted within passed in 3 months from the end of month in which application was received. For example, let's say April was the last time limit, okay, 2021, okay, let's not go for the extension time period. So in April, let's take March, okay, March 2021. In March, the trust have applied for application, okay. So by the end of that March to the next 3 months, okay, which is April, May, June. So within that time period, within June, okay, the principal commissioner is going to grant the application. Okay, hope so this point was clear. What was the form number? Form number 10A. Okay, and validity period is going for how much time period? 5 years. Registration granted is applicable from assessment year from which registration was earlier granted provision to section 12A. Okay, so the registration will continue from that time period. Okay, so let's go for the next part. Let me go for first provisional registration. So first was case of re-registration if the trust was already registered under section 12A and 12AA. Okay, let's go first now the other case of provisional registration. Okay, now what if this is going to be the new case? The trust want to get registered, okay, they are the new trust, okay, they are not registered in any of the act or in any other sections. So what is going to be the procedure for this case, for the new trust? Okay, this is going to be provisional registration, remember. Okay, so new trust under section 12AB, definitely earlier was 12A 12AA na, and to which they have to get registered under section 12AB. For new trust, it's definitely going to be section 12AB. I hope so this point was clear. Yes, so the registration application is to be, you know, sent to within how much time limit? From 1 month prior of the previous year. Now what are they saying about the previous year? Here they are talking about the previous year when the commencement of business. As we know, once the commencement of business has happened, we are going to take it as the previous year. Okay, so 1 month from the commencement of business. Okay, again form number 10, registration is going to be granted from how much time limit? From 1 month from the end of month in which application was received. Earlier it was 3 months now in case of what? Re-registration के case में, but in case of new trust 1 month for both time limit. Within 1 month from the commencement of that business, which means previous year. ठीक है, so within 1 month, ठीक है, 1 month prior, actually it is talking about prior, which means, for example, I have decided to, you know, go for the trust. Okay, I have some purpose, social purpose. Okay, so they are saying within which time period I have to get the application. Okay, I have to give the application to the principal commissioner and all within how much time period? For example, I thought that from April onwards I'm going to get started my business activity of trust. For example, I'm going to get my trust activity in April. So once I decided my works are going to be done by April or start by April, so from the prior 1 month, which means the prior 1 month April, so that is going to be March. Okay, so 1 month prior, so it should be March, it is going to be March. Hope so this point was clear. Okay, so let me read again. New trust under section 12AB is going to be registration, get registered. Okay, the application is to be sent prior to 1 month, okay, prior to 1 month of previous year in which commencement of business. Okay, prior to the commencement of business, 1 month from the commencement of the business. Okay, that is what previous year is here. Okay, form number 10A, same thing. Okay, so registration is going to be granted for within how much time limit? 1 month from the end of month in which application was received. Hope so this point was clear. Okay, yes, and registration is granted for how much time period? For 3. Earlier in case of 12A 12AA it was 5 years. Okay, but in this case they are going to be 3 years. So tell me, is there any inquiry going to be done in this case in case of new trust? No. Okay, so the provisional registration is granted without any inquiry. So let's go for the law. Clause 6 of 12, section 12 clause 6 says about the provisional registration, ठीक है. Case in any other cases, for example first application, this is they are talking about the new trust registration. Let me write here new trust registration, ठीक है. Time limit for making the application at least 1 month prior to the commencement of the previous year, ठीक है. Let's take the example of December. So what is going to the prior time period? November. Okay, by November the application is to be sent within November, okay. This is going to be the last date, okay. The assessment in form which 10A, this was the same form number, right. Time limit for passing the order by principal commissioner going to be 1 month, ठीक है. 1 month from the end of the month in which application was received. Provisional registration without delaying inquiry. So there is, in this case the inquiry is not going to be done, ठीक है. Validity again for 3 years, ठीक है. Registration granted. Assessment is immediately following the financial year in which application is made under section 12A subsection 2. Hope so this was clear. Now let's go for the final registration, ठीक है. Just a second guys. Okay, so we have covered the registration वाला case, ठीक है. Provisional registration वाला case. Let's go for the final registration now, ठीक है. So yes, here is the clause 3 saying about the final registration, ठीक है. Provisional registration, once the trust is entered in that provisional registration era, that period, ठीक है. So the final registration is to be done, but the application is sent within which, how much time period? Let's go for it. And within how much time period the principal commissioner is going to grant the application registration, ठीक है. So let's check it. Okay, provisional registration, which means the next step is going to be final registration. For the provisional registration, ठीक है, 6 month earlier, 6 month there is 2 condition, ठीक है. Earlier among them, any of them, ठीक है. Prior to the expiry of approval, which approval they are talking about? This provisional registration, 6 month prior to the expiry of approval, ठीक है. So 6 months before the expiry of that provisional registration. For example, the provisional registration was granted for how much years? 3 years now, ठीक है. So remember what I told you, it is going to be granted for 3 years, right. So let's take March 2024, ठीक है. Let's go for अच्छा ठीक है, let's take December, ठीक है. Let's not make it that complicated to you. So from prior to the 6 month, what is going to the 6 month? June, right. So 6 months earlier, which means prior to the expiry of approval, which means before expiring of provisional registration of how much month? 6 months, ठीक है. June, it's going to be here the time limit, okay. By June the provisional registration is to be converted into final registration, ठीक है. Before the expiry of provisional registration going to expire, okay. Hope so this point was clear, okay. So second is going to be 6 months from the commencement of activity, or if any of the activity is going to be conclude, ठीक है, happens in that case 6 months from the commencement of that activity, okay. So these, any of them, if any of, we are going for earlier among any of them, ठीक है. Let me say it again. Once the provisional registration is granted, ठीक है. Provisional registration is going to be expire, means it is granted for 3 years, ठीक है. From that, what is going to happen? The next step is going to be the final registration. Hope so this point was clear. Yes, this point was clear, ठीक है. So final for the final registration, what we have to do? 6 month prior to the expiry of that provisional registration, or 6 months from the commencement of activity. So they are 2 parts. Any of early, whichever is going to be happen earlier. So we are going to take that part. 6 month expiry of provisional registration, or 6 months from the commencement of that activity, ठीक है. Whichever is going to be happen, ठीक है. So hope so this point was clear. And from how much time limit the principal commissioner is going to grant the registration? Next, by end of that application, when the application was received, from there we are going to take the 6 month. Within 6 month, okay, from the end of that application was received, within next 6 month the principal commissioner is going to grant the application. Same thing, ठीक है, but the time period is different here, 6, ठीक है. Earlier for the provisional 1, ठीक है. फिर अगेन उस वाले केस में for the re-registration, comment below guys, ठीक है. Now the registration is granted for how many years? In case of provisional registration, it was 3 years. Remember, for the final registration, it's going to be 5 years. Now the question comes to you guys. You have to tell me 5 years. We already have granted 3 years for the provisional registration. Okay, now you have to tell me that provisional registration is going to be counted in this 5 year, or the next 5 years going to, matlab, new 5 years going to be granted. Here the law is saying the 5 year would be included, that provisional registration would be included in this 5 years. Okay, which means 3 year, right? So the extension is only for 2 years. Hope so this was clear. Let me say it again. 3 years were given the provisional registration, granted for how many years? 3 years. ठीक है, इतनी बात क्लियर है? Yes. So they are saying for the final registration would be granted for how many years? For 5 years. But in this 5 year, this 3 year is also included, which means only 2 year is granted. Okay, once this is going to be expired again, what is going to happen? Yes, next renewal would be happen. Okay, hope so this point was clear. For renewal there is another clause, so don't get confusion here. So hope so this point was clear. Okay, 3 year is going to be the provisional wala, 2 year would be the granted wala. Okay, with inquiries. So in case of provisional, what happens? No inquiry was done, right? Registration was granted. Okay, the department fold blindfold in their eyes. Okay, and they have granted the registration without any inquiry. But for the final registration, they are going to do the inquiry. Okay, and if they think that any act is done which is illegal or which is not in term of business, in that case they would cancel the registration. Hope so this point was clear. Now let's go for the clause 3rd, which is of final registration. Trust or institution is provisional. The next step is going to be final registration. Time limit, at least 6 months prior to the expiry of provisional registration, within 6 months of commencement of activity, whichever is earlier. But form number मैंने बताया नहीं, form number is going to be 10AB here. ठीक है, form number is going to be 10AB here. Okay, now within how much time limit the principal commissioner have to grant the application registration of that application? Within 6 months from the end of month in which application was received, after satisfying himself about the genuineness of activities and compliance of other law as of a material for the purpose of its object. For the purpose, the principal commissioner or commissioner calls off such documents or information and made inquiries as he thinks necessary. If not satisfied, in that case, pass an order in writing rejecting the application and also cancelling the registration after giving a opportunity of being heard. So what if after doing the inquiry the principal commissioner is not satisfied? In that case, the cancellation of registration is going to be happens. Okay, but before cancelling the registration, the principal commissioner is going to give the opportunity of being heard to the SSC trust. ठीक है, hope so this point was clear. Validity 5 years. Provisional registration would be included of 3 years, which means 2 years is only going to be granted. ठीक है, hope so this point was clear. Registration granted from first of the assessment year from which it was provisional registration, provision 2, section 12A, subsection 2. Okay, let's go for clause 2nd. ठीक है, clause 2nd. What are they saying in case of renewal? In case of renewal, ठीक है, first what we read, if any trust was already registered under section 12A, 12AA, ठीक है, second was of provisional registration, ठीक है, third was of final registration. Now let's go for the renewal. What happens that 5 years is going to be expired for that final revision wala case, ठीक है, what happens, the period is expired of that final registration wala case, ठीक है, in that case the renewal is going to be happen, ठीक है, but within how much time limit? Let's go for it. Renewal under section 12AB application 6 months before the expiry of 5 years. Same thing, final registration wala same case is going to be happen here, which means 6 months before the expiry of the 5 years. ठीक है, and grant within how much time limit the principal commissioner is going to grant the registration of renewal of that application. ठीक है, within 6 months from the end of application is received. Which means, can I say that this time limit and this time limit is almost same in cases which we have read so far. ठीक है, whether it was 3, 1, 6, 6, ठीक है. फर्स्ट was of 12A, 12AA, second was of what, provisional, third was of final, and now it's of renewal, ठीक है. So for the final and renewal वाला case it's going to be same, ठीक है, same cases, same time period, 6 months before the expiry of 5 years, 6 months before the expiry of that provisional registration, ठीक है, and grant within 6 months from the end of that application was received. This was the same thing mentioned, ठीक है, and granted for how many years? 5 fresh years, okay, 5 fresh year now, but with the inquiry. So let's go for clause second. Renewal of registration for trust or institution which is already registered under section 12AB, those period of 5 years is due to expire. Time limit for making application at least 6 months prior to the expiry of 5-year validity for in form 10AB. This is the same form number now, ठीक है. And what is the time limit? Within 6 months from the end of month in which application was received, after satisfying himself after genuineness of the activity and compliance of other law or material for the purpose of its object, for the purpose principal commissioner or commissioner call. This is again the same thing, ठीक है. What if they are not satisfied after doing the inquiry? The registration of trust would be cancelled, ठीक है, but before giving an opportunity of being heard, okay. Time period, validity period is going to be 5 years, okay. So registration candidate register assessment year immediately following the financial year in which the application is made under section 12A2. Hope so this point was clear, okay. But there is one more case, ठीक है, which says what if any alteration or modification of the objective of trust is happened. So what are the circumstances? First of all, are they able to do the alteration modification, ठीक है, and if they definitely can do so, then what is going to be the time limit, okay. So let's go for it now. If the trust adopted for either modification or alteration, ठीक है, of what, of the object, so within 30 days from the date of alteration and modification, once the alteration and modification adoption is done, ठीक है, of what, of the objective of trust, first of all, ठीक है. So within 30 days of that alteration, of that modification, of that adoption of the what, objective of the trust, ठीक है, within 30 days, ठीक है, they have to give the application, they have to apply for registration, they have to apply for registration. Now what is going to be the time limit here? Within how much time limit the principal commissioner is going to grant the application, ठीक है. So here within 6 months from the end of application, ठीक है, same thing, ठीक है, but this was the different time limit, बस इतना, okay. Let me say it again. If the trust is going for adoption, definitely they can do, ठीक है, but they have to again apply for the registration, ठीक है. Within how much time limit? 30 days from the adoption, alteration, modification of that objective, ठीक है, इतना clear है, बस, okay. And in which form number? In form 10AB. Remember, form AB was also in the previous clause, right? So the PIC, the principal commissioner, is going to grant the application within next 6 months, ठीक है, from the end of in which application was received. But in this case also inquiry is going to be happen, and what is going to be happen if by that inquiry the principal is not satisfied? The cancellation of registration is going to be happen by giving one opportunity of being heard would be given to the trust, okay. Hope so this point was clear. And again the grant, the period of granting would be for of 5 years. Hope so this point was also clear. Let's go for clause 5th. The trust or institution has adopted or undertaken modification of object which do not conform to the condition of registration. This is for specifically alteration and modification, ठीक है. The time limit for making the application within 30 days from the date of adoption or modification in form 10AB. So the time limit for passing is again the 6 month, same 6 months for the previous wala, ठीक है. So hope so this point was clear. And validity for the 5 years, and inquiry is going to be happens, ठीक है. But what if inquiry, in that inquiry the principal was not satisfied? The cancellation, the trust registration would be cancelled, ठीक है, but opportunity of being heard would be given, ठीक. Registration granted in application from assessment is immediately following the financial year in which application is made under section 12A subsection 2. There is one more case, ठीक है, you need not to go for this, ठीक है, this is not that much important I guess. Okay, so hope so we have covered most of the cases where the in case of existing trust, ठीक है, when they have to re-register, ठीक है, they also have to re-register, ठीक है, within 3 month. Okay, provisional वाला case 1 month, ठीक है, for the final case 6 month, ठीक, and there was one more renewal वाला केस, ठीक है, अगेन 6 month एंड फॉर लास्ट अल्ट्रेशन वाला केस 1 month 6 month, ठीक है. होप सो दिस वॉज क्लियर एंड प्लीज मेक श्योर अबाउट द फॉर्म्स, ठीक है, फॉर्म 10A, फॉर्म 10A, फॉर्म 10AB, विच फॉर्म्स, ठीक है. होप सो दिस पॉइंट वॉज क्लियर. लेट्स गो फॉर सम ऑफ द अदर सेक्शंस, ठीक है. सेक्शन 13(1) विच इज डिनायल ऑफ एग्जाम्शन अंडर सेक्शन 11 and 12, we know this. Okay, exemption under section 11 and 12 not allowable in the following cases. Income from trust is for private purpose. Definitely, if it is done for any particular caste, particular community, in that case the exemption would not be allowed. Okay, and what if it is only used for the benefit of that founder or the member of that founder, ठीक है, the relative of that founder? In that case also the exemption would be denied. Okay, so let's go for it now. Exemption in the section 11 and 12 not available in the following cases. Income from trust for the private purpose. Second, income from the trust for the benefit of any particular religion, community, what I said. Income of trust for the benefit of specified person or relative. Such part of income or fund of trust deposit or invested if it is not actually deposited in which section 5, which is specified in section 11 subsection 5, ठीक है. So these are the cases the exemption would be denied, ठीक है. So let's go for section 11 subsection 1A, which is capital gain deemed to be applied for charitable purpose, where any capital asset is transferred by trust and net consideration is utilized for acquisition of another capital asset, ठीक है. In that case then the following capital gain shall be exempted. If the net consideration is fully utilized, then capital asset in that case it would be fully exempted. If the net consideration is fully utilized, ठीक है, in that case the capital gain would be fully exempt. But what if the net consideration is partly utilized? In that case cost of new asset, ठीक है, which is to be reduced, cost of old assets to be reduced from this, ठीक है. Cost of new asset less cost of old asset shall be exempt. The remaining amount would be exempt. Okay, hope so this point was clear. Let's go for section 115 BBI, which is for tax on specified income. Following specified income are taxable under section 30. Income accumulated or set apart is excess of 15, where such accumulated is not allowable under section specific provision as per section 11 subsection 3 violates कौन सा वाला 11 वाला 2 subsection section 11 subsection 2, ठीक है. If any of the condition is violate for under that section, in that case as per 11(3), ठीक है, for again that is going to be taxable at the rate of 30%. Income applied for benefits of specified person, which means founder, ठीक है, or any other specified person, which means 13 under section 13 subsection 1, ठीक है. Income not deposited or invested in more specified in 11(5). Hope so this is also clear. Or used for any purpose outside India, ठीक है. We are only going to take that amount which is going to be used in India, ठीक है. Note, income computation without any deduction in respect of expenditure or allowance of set off, or so which means no deduction would be allowed, no set off would be allowed, no carry forward would be allowed in this case. Okay, so this was about section 115 BBI, ठीक है. Let's go for section 13 subsection 10. This is calculation of income, ठीक, in case of certain violation. Okay, if what happens, what I have given the explanation of charitable institution, right, the definition, the last point, advancement of general public, ठीक है. What if the income exceeds 20% वाला case? Okay, we are going for this. So the commercial receipt exceed 20% of the gross receipt, right? If that exceeds, in case of advancement of any other objective of general utility, this means they are violating that rule, ठीक है. If the book of accounts it's not maintained, ठीक है, and book of account it's not audited. Hope so this point was clear. And the return was not filed under section 139 subsection 1 and subsection 4. Okay, in that case the violation is going to be happen. So now we are going to calculate the income in these violation of if the amount exceed that 20%, ठीक है, of gross receipt. Second, book of accounts are not maintained, book of accounts are not audited, ठीक, and third, return was not filed under specified time limit under section 139 subsection 1 and subsection 4, ठीक है. So the gross receipt, now we are going to compute how we are going to calculate the total income in this case, in case of violation wala, ठीक है. The gross receipt is to be reduced which part? The capital expenditure. Here we are only going to take the revenue expenditure, not the capital expenditure. Let me say it again, ठीक है. Gross receipt less revenue expenditure which is incurred in India, ठीक है, which is incurred in India, not going to take that outside India expenditure, revenue expenditure, ठीक है. So this is going to be the trust income, which is the remaining amount is going to be the trust income. Let me say it again. In case of violation for section 13 subsection 10, ठीक है, in case of violation is going to be happen in 4 cases. First, 20% more than gross receipt exceed 20%, ठीक. Second, book of accounts is not maintained, book of accounts is not audited, and the return is not filed within the time limit specified in section 139 1 and 4, ठीक है. So in these cases we are going to compute the total income, okay. So from gross receipt we have to reduce the revenue expenditure only. As I already mentioned, in case of trust, the expenditure, whether that is of revenue expenditure or capital expenditure, the expenditure would be allowed, the deduction would be allowable even in case of capital expenditure, okay. But you have violated the terms, right, of trust, right. In that case, the revenue expenditure, we are only going to reduce that revenue expenditure which is incurred in India. Hope so this point was clear. So the remaining amount is going to be the total income of that trust, okay. Such expenditure is in not form of, first of all, one more thing, that expenditure was of revenue expenditure, but with that there is 4 more things which is to be mentioned in this expenditure, that this expenditure should not be from these part, okay, from which the corpus or any loan borrowing or any claim of depreciation in which in respect of any asset, which means depreciation, ठीक है, and donation to any other person. So these expenditure are not going to be allowed, ठीक है, not going to be deductible, ठीक है. Corpus, ठीक, loan and borrowing, ठीक, depreciation, donated to any other person, okay. So hope so you get my point. Let go for the very important section 115 BBC, which is anonymous donation. The donation is actually received by any unknown person, okay. Sometimes what happens, the donation received by religious trust or charitable trust, ठीक है. In that case, the donation is made of some unknown person, in name of some unknown person, ठीक है. So they don't want to disclose the name of that person, ठीक. So that is called the anonymous donation, okay. So let's check out how we are going to compute the tax in case of anonymous donation, okay. If the anonymous donation is given to registration trust, there are 2 things. First, charitable trust, second, registration. First is religious trust, and second is going to be charitable trust, ठीक है. In case of religious trust, ठीक है, anonymous donation would be computed on the same basis. Which basis? 15% set off, right? 15% was of that standard deduction, remaining 85%, from that 85% applied amount, right, reduction of that applied amount is allowed, right. From that the deduction, after deduction of everything, the remaining amount is going to be the total income, right. The same for the normal provision is going to be applied in case of religious trust. But what about the charitable trust, ठीक है. If the anonymous donation is given to the charitable trust, in that case it would be taxable under section 115 BBC, okay. So for case of charitable trust, it's going to be taxable at the rate of 115 BBC. Let's go for the rate, which is going to be 30%, but there are some calculation which is to be kept in mind, ठीक है. Actual amount of donation, anonymous donation, is going to be XXX. Let's take XXX, ठीक है, which is to be reduced from higher among 2 of them, ठीक है. 5% of the total donation, 5% of the total donation or 1 lakh, whichever is higher among them, ठीक है, which is to be reduced from this total anonymous donation, okay. Let me say it again. total, let's take out the total anonymous donation. ठीक है, it is to be one thing is to be reduced among two things. ठीक है, whichever is higher among them. First, 5% of total income. Okay, 5% of total income. Now you are going to ask me that the corpus amount is going to be included here or not. ठीक है, I'll give you the example. I'll explain it with the help of example, so every doubt of yours is going to be clear. ठीक है, but I don't think so I can continue in this section, in this lecture, but let me clarify this section first of all. ठीक है, so actual amount, from that actual amount, higher amount, 5% of the total income or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher. Let's take 1,25,000 was the 5% of total donation received by the trust. ठीक है, and here is 1 lakh. Okay, and let's take the 20 lakh here. Okay, so what is the higher among them? This is 1,25,000. So we are going to take this 1,25,000. ठीक है, and the actual let me take 10. ठीक है, let me take 10. ठीक है, okay, so this is 10 lakh. Okay, now you have to tell me this 1,25,000. ठीक है, the remaining amount, whatever the remaining amount come by deducting this limit. ठीक है, so that is going to be taxable at the rate of how much? 30%. That is going to be taxable at the rate of 30%. Now you are going to ask me, what about this? Is this going to be taxable or not? Yes, this is going to be taxable at the normal provision. ठीक है, with that normal provision it's going to be included. So don't get confused here. I'll solve one question. ठीक है, so what I told you, from that 10 lakh we have to deduct higher among 1,25,000 or 1 lakh, or let me round off, let me take it 2 lakh. Don't get confused here. ठीक है, so the remaining amount is going to be 8 lakh here. ठीक है, so in this 8 lakh we have to take the taxable amount at the rate of 30%. ठीक है, so this is going to be taxable at the rate of 30%. But what about this 2 lakh? What about this 2 lakh? ठीक है, what about this 2 lakh? 2 lakh would be added back. 2 lakh would be added back. ठीक है, and that is going to be taxable for at the normal provisions. ठीक, so that's it guys. I guess I cannot keep it long. This video is already more than 35 minutes, so I'm going to cover the remaining section. There is only one remaining section, that is 115D. ठीक है, and that is of accredited income, and with that we are going to end this chapter. ठीक है, and with that there is again question of this particular sections, accredited income, and there is one normal question. ठीक है, so total we have 2 questions. In next lecture I'm going to upload it. ठीक है, I don't want to make very huge video. Till then what you have to do, keep the revision guys, do the questions. ठीक है, clear each and everything. Don't keep it for like I'll do it later. No. ठीक है, कल कभी नहीं आता. Do it by today. Okay, so that's it guys. This is Samya Santosh. Hope you are enjoying my video. Hope you are getting something, ठीक है, informative. If hit a like button, subscribe my channel, and please share this video to the CA and CMA aspirant. Thank you guys.